We are at the forefront of many innovative and exciting things developing in the world of senior living. With Tim Mallett, CEO of Forefront Living, as our guide, this show will shine a light on how older adults can embrace these changes to live active, happy, fulfilling, and thriving lives. Through discussions with senior living and hospice professionals, architects and designers, and people of all ages, will help today's seniors envision the art of the possible and take steps toward achieving the future of their dreams. Welcome to At the Forefront.
Hello, I'm Tim Mallett, CEO of Forefront Living, and welcome to At the Forefront. Today is a very special segment. We're going to talk about, I think, three very important aspects of retirement living. If anyone who's listening or is in the audience has had any experience with retirement communities, food, first and foremost, is one of the key drivers of resident satisfaction. Staffing is one of the key challenges of what we do day to day and finding staff. And then finally, the aspirational piece of what we do is intergenerational programming. And today, all three converge on this episode of At the Forefront. I will introduce my guests today. To my left, I have Nancy Greer, who is a resident at Presbyterian Village North. Nancy actually joined our community in 2021, I believe, June of 2021. And to my right, I have three individuals who work in our dining room. One who shares the same last name I do. To my immediate right, Meredith Mallett. Next to her is Karis O'Brien and Mackenzie Odom. And I will give you a little bit of background related to how the three individuals to my right came to work at Presbyterian Village North. I think as many individuals know, at the end of the pandemic, or as the pandemic was in one of its final phases, we were confronted with a great staffing shortage. And we, as an organization, were relying upon agency staffing. It was, I would say, Nancy, not the best scenario. You pointed out to me from a satisfaction standpoint and a cost standpoint. Cost standpoint, that there were better things we could do. Little did we know that the answer was right in front of our eyes, and at least for me, it was right at my kitchen table. That would be Meredith, and then finally Mackenzie Odom. Her mother serves as a special care director at Presbyterian Village North, and again, another kitchen table. However, we realized once we asked these two individuals to help us that there were some synergies there. There was something different when the students entered the dining room, something different when they interacted with the residents. So Meredith actually came to us from Ursuline Academy in Dallas, Mackenzie from Plano East, if I'm not mistaken. And again, being close to home, I reached out to Ursuline Academy in Dallas and was curious if they had any other students who may be interested in joining our two students in the dining room to help us out. And it was almost one of those situations where it was instant. I called and talked to the individual who was helping with different job placements, and an hour later had an email from Karis. So Karis, we're going to start with you instead of the two individuals who were voluntold. What intrigued you? You were so quick to respond back. What was your inspiration?
Yeah, so I just turned 16, and I was looking for a job. I could drive, needed money. And so when I saw that the email that had been sent to my school asking for student servers, it was interesting just because I needed a job, and also my grandma lived at Presbyterian Village North like 10 years ago. So I thought it was
the power of referral.
Yeah.
I did not know that about you. And then I'll have the same question for Meredith and Mackenzie. You came to us at a time where we really needed help, a time of uncertainty, but you stayed. So Meredith, after that time period, when staffing started to stabilize, why did you continue to stay at Presbyterian Village North?
I had no reason to leave. I loved everything about it, and I never had a bad experience, and it was a great place to work and a good environment to be in.
What made it a great place to work?
everyone was so welcoming. The residents, the staff, everything was just, it was almost easy, which is not how most jobs are.
So I would have to ask you the same question, Mackenzie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I just liked being able to like talk with different students and people my age, and then also talk to, you know, the adults that were on staff and the residents. And I just thought that was a unique experience.
Yeah, and I think when you enjoy what you do, as I enjoy what I do, it's fun. It doesn't have to be work. So I would have to ask you now, as resident, and having gone through that time period, you know, as we looked at our staffing situation and the concept of dining, high school students into the dining room, what was your first impression?
Hallelujah. Now, they just bring such an energy to our community. And look at those faces, you know? It just makes the food taste a lot better.
Well, so I have a question for you, because we talked a little bit, you know, about service and about how we serve in the dining room. I would ask the three of you, had you ever worked in a restaurant-style setting? Seeing all the heads shaking, no. Were there any memorable events? I guess there were. When you have a group of individuals who are have not had the experience before they're coming into your dining room, does any one time stand out?
Well, there is one very memorable time just several months ago when a brand new server came in, and it was her first night to serve, and we had spaghetti that night. And as she came out of the kitchen and began with a tray full of spaghetti, she dropped 2 plates on one of the residents. And while that could have just been a terrible, you know, incident, it worked out really well. The resident took care of herself and went on to play cards that night. And I'm sure that the server learned from that there is life after dropping trays, you know. So the worst was over. It was smooth sailing from then on out.
So I'm going to have the same question for the three of you. And I've been told by a good source it was not one of the three of you that dropped the spaghetti on the resident. But any memorable experiences? Maybe Mackenzie, I'd start with you, and we'll work down the line with that.
I have not like dropped anything on anyone. That's, thank goodness for that. But I mean, I'm just like, you know, there's a learning curve that comes with all of that. And like, you have to learn how to remember like people's orders, people's drinks, and all of that stuff. And I'd say that's what I like struggled most with at first. Just because it's like instant, like they tell you what they want and you just have to like get it and like know it. And like, yeah. So that was...
Harris, how about you?
A memorable experience. I've dropped a few more water glasses and wine glasses, like more than I can count. It's okay. But I think like specifically with residents, I just like coming into work every day and seeing them wave at me and like seek me out every time I'm working to say hi or like catch up. It's really.
Meredith, when we were warming up, you mentioned one resident in particular in the greeting. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, one of my residents that I've served for 2 years, she, every time I walk into the dining room, she comes and gives me a big hug, and she's like, come sit, talk to me, and she always says hello and always greets me no matter what, and a lot of them are like that, but that's just one resident.
And how does it make you feel?
Really happy. It makes me excited to come into work. Really like it.
So Nancy, talk to us about the interaction between the residents and the students, and what you're hearing and what you see or feel personally.
Well, having been a teacher most of my life, I want to know all about you. I want to know where you went to school. I want to know what grade level you're in. I want to know what your favorite subjects are. And you know, by doing that interaction, it helps us get to know you and you get to know us, and it makes for a very nice experience.
So next question for our three servers is, what have you learned from the residents? Who would like to go first?
I've learned so many things from the residents. I feel like I've learned the things right and wrong to say. Something.
For example?
There's too many. And I've also learned just that everyone's the same, and even though we're years or lifespans apart, we are all the same people, and we all have learned the same things and know the same things. So it taught me a lot.
Yeah,
Kind of the same. Just being around like that broad spectrum of ages. I guess before I'd never really been around the elderly a lot, and so working here, like, it's just taught me a lot about them and about their lives, because like I wasn't alive for most of their experiences, so it's just cool to learn.
yeah. I'd say I like learning about the residents' lives, and especially like their younger lives, because it's like, even though it was like a while ago, like they can still relate to like us
Is there
now.
a story or something individual that stands out to you, or an individual that stands out to you?
Well, I have one recently. One resident, his name is Ron Wetherington, and I'm going to Colorado for college, and I was talking to him about it, and I was talking about how, like, I'm excited. I've never been skiing before, and so I'm excited to go skiing. And so he was like, oh, well, I used to be a ski instructor at, like, a resort. And I was like, that's so cool. So we, like, talked about that for, like, a while, and that was, like, something that we could relate about.
So two of you are leaving for college. Karis, I think you're entering your senior year. How have the residents helped you prepare for college?
Well, many of the residents have grandchildren that have also gone through the exact, or daughters, sons, gone through the exact same. So they give a lot of advice, and a lot of them I've sat down with. Well, not sat down during work, but like while I'm working, they have told me different career options and like career paths, and it's really helped me kind of figure out what I want to do. And they've taught me that.
Yeah, I'd say the same. They give a lot of advice and just like what to look out for, and yeah.
And I will have to say, though I'm not being interviewed, I took a part-time job in college and a retirement community, and that was 37 years ago. It was supposed to be 3 months, and I have never looked back, because I met individuals that inspired me and something that I could aspire to. So I guess I would ask you, Nancy, as we have other individuals who are looking, or other students who are interested in working for us or with seniors, do you have any advisement for them?
I think they should just go ahead. If that's a dream of theirs that they enjoy, they should come work here first and then decide that, oh, that's either good or it's not so good, and proceed from there.
Wonderful. What about you all? What advisement would you give to other students? I know we have, and we're going to talk in our next segment about kids from other schools and other opportunities. What advisement would you give to your peers about seeking employment in a retirement community or working with seniors?
I would say, like, my biggest advice, if you're working in a, like, retirement, or honestly anywhere, is just that, like, it's okay to make mistakes and, like, do something wrong, and it's not the end of the world. Because I feel like a lot of people, like, especially young people, like, we struggle with that, and, like, you think that it's not okay to, mess something up, and it is okay, and you're always forgiven for that.
So you could drop a plate of spaghetti and survive. Kara, same question for you.
I think it's just a really rewarding experience, because it's just like working at a normal restaurant, except you have the same customers every single night, so you get to build that relationship. So I guess if a student wants to work in a restaurant or some customer service job, I think this one is a lot easier, because you get to know people better. And I'd probably say, kind of with Mackenzie, it's okay to do something different than your friends as well, because this is a different job than probably none of our friends do, but there's a group here that have found a love for it, and it's something that we would never have gone through without applying for this job.
Well, and we'll find out in our next segment that there are a number of your friends actually this year working with us. Yeah. And my final question, at least for this segment, is, and I'd like to ask it of all four of you, what is the most rewarding part of this relationship?
I would say the connections and memories you make. It's like you're hanging out with your friends all day, and I have so much fun doing with it. It's all the connections. Same thing, just building those relationships and also just being able to help them.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd say, like, just the fact that, like what you said earlier, that we have the same customers every day, it's like nothing else, you know, because in a restaurant, you never know who's going to come in. But at the retirement community, you know, like who's coming in, when they're coming in, who their friends are, and you get to learn more about them and like their life.
I hear a giggle to my left. So I believe the last word will go to you as far as the most rewarding part of this all.
The most rewarding part, to watch them grow. You know, they come in and I see the older servers who give them little tips and hints along the way, watching that camaraderie build and grow, and watching them grow in confidence and enjoying what they do. You know, a smile from them to a grouchy old person is really worth a lot.
And I believe it's reciprocal, is it not? And with that, I thank all four of you for your smiles. I thank you for joining us at the forefront. And if you'll join us again, we're going to talk in the next segment a little bit more about students and dining. So thank you.